I want to take a few minutes to introduce kind of the rest of the year, really, and our first topic within the rest of the year. So we're moving into a period known as the Gilded Age. And Mark Twain wrote Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn. He's credited with coming up with this term. Anyway, gilded means something that's layered with a thin layer of gold or silver or other precious metal. And he called it the Gilded Age because Twain did, because he thought everything on the surface looked really good. There was a lot of progress happening. Good things were going on in the United States. So on top, it looked all shiny and pretty and great, but underneath, there were actually problems that the country was having. So as we go through this unit, we'll look at the good and the bad. Everything looks good on the surface, but underneath, you're able to see some of the problems. Late 19th, early 20th centuries, 1870 to 1920, more or less. We're going to divide the unit up into sections. Our first section is immigration, and we'll do a short little thing on urbanization. These two kind of go hand in hand. Then we'll move on to industry, and as time allows, we'll go into progressivism. So I picked 1901. I found this, and I just think this is interesting because 1901, it's 120 some years ago. But at the same time, in historical terms, it's not that long ago. So just some facts about 1901. Average life expectancy was 47 years old. Today, I'm guessing it's probably just under 80, maybe 78 or 79. 14% of all U.S. homes had a bathtub. That's it. No showers yet. 8% of homes had a telephone. There were only 8,000 cars in the United States. There was only 144 miles of paved roads. The tallest structure in the world at the time was the Eiffel Tower. Average worker made between $200 and $400 a year. 95% of U.S. births took place where? It's not a hospital, it's at home. Most of those were without doctors, by the way. Most women washed their hair once a month and used borax or egg yolks for shampoo. 95% of doctors had no college education. There were only 45 stars on the flag. Who was missing? Off the top of my head, Alaska, Hawaii, I'm going to guess Arizona, New Mexico, and maybe Utah. Oh, got it wrong. Got the Utah wrong. Oklahoma. No Mother or Father's Day yet, and only 6% of Americans have graduated high school. And why? Because most kids grew up relatively poor by today's standards and dropped out of school second, third, fourth, fifth grade, somewhere in there, and entered the workforce. Okay, immigration. Immigration is a unique topic in that it is not static. What that means, it's ongoing. Immigration started, if we want to be technical on this, when Native Americans first entered across that land bridge from Asia into Alaska and filtered their way down. When has it ended? It hasn't ended. It continues to this very day. People are immigrating as we hear this. So that makes it pretty unique. For all our other topics this year, for instance, the Civil War was 1861 to 1865. It ended at Appomattox Courthouse. It was done. It was over with. Immigration is ongoing. We all have immigration stories also. Maybe your parents, maybe your grandparents, maybe your great-great-great-grandparents. It's going to be different for everyone, but at some point, people immigrated over here. We also have multiple immigration stories. For instance, just keeping this simple, maybe you were born in the United States, but you have a father that was born in Europe, and you have a mother that was born in Asia. Two completely different stories with different details that go into that. I'm going to skip that. Immigration patterns, again, this is the time period that we're going to talk about. So we're going to focus on the 1870s, which is down here, to about the 1920s. And you can see we hit some really high peaks. This was the first great wave of immigration. You can also see immigration, it declined in the 30s and 40s, mainly due to the Great Depression and World War II, but it rebounded. And one thing that we will do a lot with, we're going to look at the 1870 to 1920 period, but we're going to be doing a lot of comparing to immigration today. What's changed? What's remained the same? So the immigration story is ongoing. In some things about it are exactly the same as they were 100, 120 years ago, but then there's other things that have obviously changed.